If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
So, quite a bit happened in terms of racing from Loudon, and you also had F1 in Baku, and then the Canada Series season finale in Montmagny, where history was made in Montmagny. You also had ARCA at Salem as well, so quite a bit happened in racing action. So, let's take a look at what happened this weekend. So, starting off, we had the Modifieds race at Loudon. So, it was actually a really good race. Honestly, out of all the races at Loudon this weekend, our Modifieds was easily the better one of the three. As it was a really good race. Like, there was a lot of good action back and forth. In the end, it came down to a two-man battle between Justin Bonsignor and Tyler Rimka. As Bonsignor had the lead coming to the white flag, and it took him all the way to turn 3. But, of course, usually a lot of these modified races always at Loudon always get decided in turn 3. As Bonsignor would go low, but Rimka would go even lower hitting the apron. And then Rimka got the run off to turn 4 to get the lead. And then Bonsignor would end up hooking him right into the wall. Rimka even loses a wheel going into the wall. And then both of them would go dragging on the wall, and Rimka would still get the win over Justin Bonsignor in one of the craziest finishes I ever seen. Also, I hope to God that tire that came off Rimka's car didn't go in the crowd, because if it went in the crowd, yeesh. But honestly, a really good finish. Honestly, Modifieds once again delivered another banger at Loudon. Yeah, Rimka got the win. Honestly, Bonsignor, if you're going to right hook somebody, at least make sure you win the damn race. So yeah, it was a dump and fail for Bonsignor, as Rimka still won. But yeah, what an absolute crazy finish of a race in Modifieds. Best race all weekend, and the finish was one of the crazier ones too. Now we get to the Truck Series race at Loudon, with the trucks returning to Loudon for the first time in over 12 years. And really, in terms of the truck race, well, this truck race, it was the Corey Haim show, and this was also an elimination race for round 1 of the Trucks Chase. But even despite that, even with Chandler Smith's best options to win, since Smith was in a must-win situation, he could not dethrone Corey Haim. As Haim dominated this race from start to finish, taking out a lot of drama from there. And Corey Haim goes on and gets his second win in this round, and Haim gets the win. And that's also Corey Haim's 9th win of the season, which means he has tied the record for most wins in the season, tying the record set by Greg Biffle in 1999 when the Biff won 9 races. So yeah, in the Truck Series, you know what? The skin stiff for the Biff has now been replaced with Haim time. And with Haim winning, it also means that Jake Garcia and Chandler Smith are both eliminated from the Trucks Chase. And before anybody says anything, no, the Chase format is not the reason why Chandler Smith got eliminated. Sometimes you can't blame the Chase format for everything. I'll say this, it is not the Chase format's fault that Chandler Smith shit the bed in the Trucks Chase for 2 races. That is Chandler Smith's own goddamn fault. He had his chances to advance. He had to take advantage. Let me just say this. Under any championship format, whether it's the OG Chase format, the current bullshit we have right now, or hell, even the season-long points format, if you can't show up and perform when it matters the most, you don't deserve to compete for the championship, period. And honestly, Chandler Smith ran like ass in this first round outside of Loudon when he actually had to win. And therefore, Chandler Smith doesn't deserve to advance and to compete for the championship. He ran like ass. Let me just say this. Is the Chase format a problem? Yes, it is. It's an absolute dumpster fire of a championship format. But was it the reason that Chandler Smith got eliminated? No. Chandler did it to himself. He had his chances. He didn't take advantage of it. There's a time and place to blame the format for what's wrong in NASCAR. This ain't that time or place right now. Don't worry, that time or place will be in Phoenix when Corey Heim gets ultimately screwed over. Because Heim will most likely go into Phoenix with 10 wins. Yeah, the one driver that has done the one thing in trucks this year, and that's win. The one thing that format was designed to do. And Heim may not end up winning the championship. Because this format is bullshit. But yeah, just a shame. Heim's best season of his career, and not only will Heim most likely get screwed out of the title, his reward for it will be going part-time. What a shame. Now we go to the ARCA race at Salem Speedway, and Salem once again delivered another banger ARCA race. It was really a three-way fight for the win, as Max Reeves started off, and then LeVar Scott would take over for the lead, until Brennan Butterbean Queen would take over, and Queen just dominated after that. Even despite LeVar Scott's best efforts, the racing gods have still decided that this is still not LeVar Scott's day. As Butterbean Queen gets his 7th win of the season, and Butterbean Queen with that win also gets one step closer to the ARCA Championship. But yeah, another solid banger race from ARCA at Salem. Salem once again delivered another banger. As yeah, now we're in the home stretch of the ARCA season, because now after this race, we have 2 more races remaining. Kansas, and then the season finale in Toledo. But yeah, maybe someday the trucks or Xfinity can come to Salem. Will they? Maybe, but knowing NASCAR's inconsistent record, I do have my doubts. Maybe someday the trucks will come to Salem. Someday. Now we go to the F1 race in Baku in Azerbaijan. And honestly, this Azerbaijan is easily one of the best street races at F1. Like, it's definitely a lot better than fucking Monaco, that's for sure. And of course, coming the weekend, we also find out that Baku's contract has been extended, as Baku will remain on the F1 schedule till 2030. Good. Best street race on the calendar. And it deserves that kind of hot spotlight. Of course, this race, though, well, this race had some drama right at the start, with Oscar Piastri DNFing after lap 1 when he jumped the start, stalled the car, and then ended up last. And then when he was trying to make up what he lost, he locked up the brakes, and then crashed into the wall in turn 3. I mean, turn 5, actually. Fuck. But yeah, that's major championship implications in terms of the championship. Especially, so yeah, with Oscar Piastri DNFing, and that ends his point streak at 24 consecutive races. So yeah, for the first time in almost a year, Oscar Piastri will not score points in a race. But of course, up front, this race was the Max Verstappen show, as Verstappen dominated this race. Just nobody was in Verstappen's zip code. It seems like now Red Bull has figured things out and got their shit together. And of course, meanwhile, even with Piastri out, there was still a chance for McLaren to clinch the Constructors' title. Like, all they needed was Lando Norris to get up front and have a solid finish, and needed full Ferraris to struggle. And well, in this race, both Ferraris did struggle, but Lando Norris struggled as well. And it didn't help, too, when Lando on his pit stop had another slow pit stop, another 4-second pit stop from McLaren with another issue on the right front wheel, just like Monza a couple weeks ago. And somehow for that slow pit stop, we all know McLaren will probably once again blame Oscar Piastri for that slow stop like they did in Monza, which led to the team orders bullshit. And in the end, that led to Norris finishing in 7th and only getting 6 points. And with those 6 points, it now puts Lando Norris within a race of the championship for Oscar Piastri. And oh yeah, how many points did McLaren screw Piastri out of last and Monza 2 weeks ago with those stupid team orders? Oh shit, it was 6 points. Yeah, somehow McLaren's going to cost Piastri the championship. Like I said, those instances where you can lose 6 points like that, that type of shit is what costs you a championship. What a shame. Honestly, at this point, I don't blame Piastri if he wants to leave for Ferrari when Hamilton retires, since there's rumors that Ferrari wants to go get Piastri once Hamilton retires. Usually, that's usually how the McLaren Civil Wars usually ends. Usually ends with one of the drivers fucking off to another team. I mean, look at the McLaren Civil War between Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. How'd that war end? With Prost going to Ferrari. Or how about the one in the 2010s between Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton? How'd that one end? With Lewis Hamilton going to Mercedes. And well, the rest is history. And then this civil war between Piastri and Lando Norris. And how will this war end? With most likely Piastri fucking off to Ferrari. That's most likely how this is going to end. Unless Ferrari does something crazy and goes get Verstappen, which I highly doubt that. I think Verstappen, if he goes anywhere, it's going to be Mercedes. But yeah. And also with Lando finishing in 7th, it would not be enough for him to clinch the Constructors' title over Ferrari, as the Constructors' title will now go to Singapore next in 2 weeks. And also up front, well, Verstappen won this race and gets his 67th career win. And with that win, he also gains a whole race in the championship, as Verstappen still has an outside shot at the title. As Verstappen's now 69 points behind Piastri for the championship with 7 races left. So he's just over 2.5 races behind in the championship. I mean, if Verstappen keeps winning at this rate, he could pull it off. But Verstappen's going to need a lot of outside help if he wants to win a 5th consecutive title. But hey, at least we had some good stories in the podium. Well, outside of Russell finishing 2nd, that's kind of expected. I mean, we had Carlos Sainz get his first podium in a fucking Williams. Yes, the smooth operator got a podium with Williams. Holy shit. Honestly, that's a good story right there for Sainz going to that Williams shitbox. As yeah, maybe Williams isn't 100% dog shit after all. Even Liam Lawson had a really good run, and Yuki Tsunoda finally had a good run. So yeah. But yeah, Red Bull figuring their shit out. You know, even though McLaren will most likely clinch the Constructors' title up in Singapore in a couple weeks, but that driver's title's still wide open, all because they had to screw all Piastri over in Monza, and now it's coming back to haunt him. What a shame. Now we get to this Canada Series season finale at Montmagny, a 3-way title fight for the championship between Cameron, DJ Kennington, and Andrew Ranger. And of course, entering this race with 21 cars on the entry list, it means that all Cameron has to do to clinch the title entering this race was finish 10th or better. And Cameron was starting on the front row, which would help his chances too, with Alex Labbe. And really throughout this race, Cameron dominated this race, as Cameron would lead a lap early, which pushed that finish to 11th or better. And then he'd go on and lead the most laps, which then pushed it to 12th or better. Regardless of what Kennington and Ranger did. And by the end of the race, well, Kennington and Ranger would end up being up front. So you had all the championship contenders up front. And honestly, when I'm all running up front and Cameron running hard, all I have to say is, well, wait, what? I thought, I heard for everybody that season-long points bad, and having a driver go in the finale having to finish like 12th or better or some shit is a horrible idea, not a good idea. It's like, well, it didn't even matter since Cameron was dominating the race. Even despite Alex Labbe's best efforts until a couple late race cautions came out that shuffled him out on the restarts. Cameron would pull away in the last 7 laps, with a 7-lap shootout to decide the season, as Cameron pulled away from Will LaRue, and then Donald Teach would get up to 3rd in the closing laps. But in the end, nobody had an answer for Will or for Marc-Antoine Cameron. As Cameron in this race, he did everything he needed to win the championship, because even though he could just coast to do the bare minimum, there's an easier way to deal with the championship. That's just win the race. and just get as many points as possible. Just beat everybody. And that's what Cameron did. Cameron just wanted it more. And Cameron gets the win in the finale at Montmagny. And that win would be everything Cameron would need to do to win the title. As Cameron, he clinches the 2025 championship with that win. Needing to only finish 12th or better, and he wins the race. And with the win, Cameron has officially won back-to-back championships. And Marc-Antoine Cameron makes history, as Cameron becomes the first driver in Canada Series history to win back-to-back Canada Series titles. The first time this has happened ever since NASCAR got the Canada Series license back in 2007 from the CASCAR days. But yeah, Cameron, like honestly, I think we all had a feeling Cameron was going to probably be the first to do it, with how consistent he's been the last 4 years. Like this 4-year stretch, like honestly, he's won now 3 titles in 4 years. He's got a dynasty in the Canada Series. So yeah, Cameron has officially clinched the dynasty status with Paillet Course Racing. Honestly, congrats to Cameron. Well deserved. Had a really consistent season all year. So yeah, congrats to him on the win and dominated all year. Just think of this though. Without Lapsevich in 2023, Cameron most likely wins that championship. And Cameron would end up having 4 championships in a row and being the Canada Series version of Jimmy Johnson, if he isn't already that with this championship win. So yeah, Cameron once again becoming the gold standard. Now he has the second most championships in the Canada Series. As his 3 titles now tie him with LP Dumoulin and Andrew Ranger for second most in the series. As now for Cameron, only one man in the Canada Series now stands with more championships than him. Only Scott Steckley and his 4 championships stand in the way of Cameron becoming Canada Series GOAT. Although technically it should be DJ Kennington as the GOAT since he's run every damn race in the series. But yeah, honestly an absolute banner race to end the Canada Series season. A really good season, a solid season overall, even despite some pretty bad field counts, but we had good quality racing. Sometimes quality over quantity is what wins out in the end. But congrats to Cameron on making history. Honestly, I'm honestly surprised it took damn near 20 years to finally have a back-to-back champion. But people will probably complain about it and turn on Cameron because people hate domination and legitimacy, instead of just shutting the hell up and acknowledging greatness. Maybe someday fans will acknowledge greatness and not a bunch of manufactured dog shit. Maybe someday, but knowing how stupid NASCAR fans are, I have my doubts. And speaking of manufactured dog shit, what a way to go right into the Cup Series race at Loudon to start round 2 of the Cup chase. And let's be honest with this Cup race, it was the Penske show throughout this race. The Penskes dominated this race, mainly that fuckface Logano. And of course, people cheering for Logano when he won the pole, because oh yeah, this is Logano's home track in the New England area in Loudon. Well, everybody except Space Mount Ferrari 248. He might be the only New Englander that didn't cheer for Logano. Honestly, I'll say this to Space Mount Ferrari 248. I'm very disappointed in your people for cheering for Logano. Honestly, anybody that cheers for Logano needs to check and see if their balls are still attached. Like, honestly, fuck that stupid piece of shit. But yeah, Logano dominated the early portion of this race, but Blaney, I think Logano had a better car in the short runs, but Blaney was better than him on the longer runs. And we had a lot of long runs at Loudon. Even despite a few cautions throughout the race, as we had a couple Cody Ware incidents. Well, we're back to having our weekly Cody Ware incidents. Just to remind everybody that, yeah, Cody Ware still exists. Like, the Toyotas throughout this race struggled. Like, they struggled to the point to where we would have a JGR civil war when Hamlin would dump Ty Gibbs for position midway through the race. Oh, I can imagine the Michael Barute sketch coming up for that. Grandpa, Hamlin dumped me. Why would he do that? I did nothing wrong to him. Oh, Ty. I can just imagine that sketch right now. And honestly, for all the Ty Gibbs fans complain about this incident, honestly, Ty Gibbs fans, you have no leg to stand on. Because normally I feel bad for Gibbs in this situation, but hey, Gibbs, remember a couple years ago when you dumped your teammate Brandon Jones for a win at Martinsville in Xfinity? Life comes at you fast. All I have to say to Gibbs fans is, karma's a bitch. Alright, and honestly to Gibbs, he's showing to race people like a douche in Xfinity. You reap what you sow, partner. Especially your own goddamn teammates. And don't worry, we already know what Hamlin fans are going to do in this situation. They're just going to say Denny did nothing wrong. Don't worry, we already know what Hamlin fans will do in that situation. And outside that, well, I'll say it is that also some Chevys had some good speed too, especially Shane Van Gisbergen throughout the early portions. He had some really good speed, even despite him dumping Josh Berry early in the race. And he really had some good speed going. Until Brad Keselowski decided to be a fucking idiot and go for a gap that really wasn't there, and then Keselowski would clip the wall and cause a 5-car accident. I don't know what the fuck Keselowski was thinking on that restart. Like, when are people going to learn that going 5 wide in turn 2 at Loudon never works, especially when you get close to the wall? And yeah, he wrecked a bunch of cars, Kiwi got involved, Kyle Busch got involved as Busch's nightmare season continues because more nightmare fuel for Rowdy Nation. And Suarez even getting some airtime after contact with Haley checking up. And then Nemechek also wrecked out too to complete the Toyota's no good, very bad day. But up front, like the only Toyota that actually had speed in this race was Chase Briscoe when he took a 2-tire gamble. And it worked for quite a bit until he only fell to third throughout that gamble, so it did work for the most part. And Larson was like the only car that had any speed. Like the HMS cars of Byron, Elliott, and Larson were the only ones that had any answer for the Penske Fords. But in the end, the Penske Fords were too much to handle, as Ryan Blaney dominated the second half of the race, even despite Josh Berry's best efforts from the spin and coming all the way back to battle for second. Berry just could not seal the deal against Blaney, as even though he did probably had a faster car to him at the end, Berry kind of botched it with a slide in turn 3 late. And that would allow Blaney enough space to pull away. And Ryan Blaney goes on and wins at Loudon and advances to the second round of the chase. So yeah, this is probably going to be where Blaney pulls another deep chase run out of his ass and makes the Final Four again. The question is, will Blaney need to win Martinsville this year to make the Final Four or not? I don't think so. I think he wins Talladega to get in. But you never know. Hell, he might be able to make it in on points, for fuck's sakes. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Blaney gets the win, his first win at Loudon. So yeah, and for anyone thinking that this is going to be the start of Logano pulling another run out of his ass, no. Logano ain't pulling anything out. Because remember, this is not an even number year. So you know Logano's going to bin it when the opportunity presents itself. Especially considering we have the Roval in this round and Logano's not good on road courses. But yeah, that's Loudon. Honestly, Loudon was just a mid-race. Like, the tire fall-off was not really what everyone hyped it up to be. Especially since we had drivers taking 2 tires and holding track position up front. It's like, honestly, it was an average race. It was your average. I mean, it's Loudon. The bar's not really too high when it comes to Loudon. And honestly, thank God this race isn't in the chase next year. If we even have a chase next year. I'll be honest, if we have a season-long points format, I really don't give 2 squirts of whale shit where this race is on the calendar. I mean, where Loudon is on the calendar next year, it's like, whatever. I mean, it's an improvement. But yeah, honestly, it's Loudon. It was an average Loudon race. Like, the bar isn't really that high. Honestly, it's better than some of the shit we've had in Loudon in the past and some of the shit here. But they still need to fix this goddamn car for these kind of short tracks and road courses, though. The good news is, though, for everyone for NASCAR, since they don't want to fix the car, we got Kansas next week. We're on an intermediate where this car is good at. and Kansas being one of the best races. So yeah, also right here, I will reveal that I will only be doing 3 more Cup race recaps this year. And those final 3 recaps will be Kansas next week, and then the final 2 will be Martinsville and then Phoenix. So those are my last 3 Cup race recaps for the rest of the season. Only doing 3 more for this season. But yeah, in the end, that wraps it up here. See you all for Kansas next week. I'm out.